Thank you very much, Carlos. MDEC, or the Malaysia Digital Economy Corporation, is a government agency tasked with driving Malaysia's digital economy through high-impact initiatives and strategic and sustainable investments. Today, we have the CEO of MDEC, Mr. Mahathir Aziz, to share some insights on the latest trends in the digital economy and MDEC's role in it. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Now, let's begin with something that was launched recently, a publication called Horizon.
Yep.
So tell me why this publication is important, what's its significance, and what can the public learn from this publication?
I think it is extremely critical for any economy or any ecosystem to be able to share what it has done over the years, and also to share the kinds of programs that people or the market, especially investors, especially I think the captains of the industry, to be able to see and also plan for it. So I come from a consulting background. So if there's anything that we would like to know about Malaysia, there's always references globally. Unfortunately, that has always been focused more on Asia and ASEAN at most, with a few selected countries, and maybe a snippet about Malaysia compared to Singapore and even Indonesia. So as the agency driving digital economy, we believe that it's extremely critical for Malaysia to be able to share that with the world, so that they take attention, they understand what we are trying to do, and they also know what we plan to do ahead of this. So it is valuable insights about the achievements. It's about the trust and the focus that Malaysia has, and also the kinds of things that we believe would be critical for the investment community to be able to see where I can do this, with whom I can do it with, and when can I plan to do that.
Okay, and I'd like to quote from the publication: the economic and socio-economic well-being of Malaysia is now tied to the digital economy. Now, what do we actually mean by this?
Well, I think generally, if you look at the economic I think ecosystem or even environment today, there's nothing, almost nothing that you can do, but without digital. Let me rephrase that and say that. And I think there's always digital in every single thing that you do today, starting with your own handphones, how you interact with your friends through messaging, how you consume your news, how do you actually experience the kinds of services that you get from the government or even from private sector as well. So with regards to the socio-economic aspect of these things, we believe that digital is key in doing and actually growing the economic pie of digital economy. Today, we are standing at about roughly 23.2% of contribution of digital economy with respect to the GDP. And that should surpass more than a quarter of the size of the economy, or the size of GDP itself, by 2025. And we are extremely confident that we are ahead of time with regards to that. But more importantly is that the ecosystem that contributes towards that. We have, I think, 27 years worth of an experience since the inception of MDEC and MSC initiative, Multimedia Super Corridor, where we believe that we have a lot of contribution, whether it's from investment, which is close to $500 billion, rightly. We are exporting to other parts of the world. We are growing our MSMEs, who are more digitally enhanced and supported today by data, using certain tools and things like that. So again, these are the kind of things where it's more prevalent, the use of, I think, digital in what we do, whether it's lifestyle, businesses, and also how we grow and experience many things.
Now, you mentioned 2025. What has actually changed? What has sped up the process over the last few years with regards to digitalization? What are we talking about? I believe, I don't want to make assumptions here. Now, you're the expert. So tell us, how has it changed in recent years?
One of the key mandates that was given to MDEC was to drive digital adoption as part of the digital economy, and also transformation of the country into digital. So we've been trying to push this, but any CIO or anybody related to technology and adoption can actually attest to the fact that COVID basically accelerated all adoption of digital.
That's right.
So we have seen that trend.
Yep.
So people talked, and I was during MCO and things like that. We were talking about the new norm, and that new norm is more digital.
Correct.
Everyone is now expanding, even our parents are expanding the use of the phones instead of taking photos and calling and messaging into banking, into other parts of this thing. So the use of digital has changed how we are doing things, and we foresee that there's more adoption as we shift towards new ways of doing, new ways of working, where you don't have to be in office all the time. You can be in other parts of the world. In fact, we launched a couple of programs, one of them being Di Rantau, on nomad and digital nomads as well, taking advantage of that. And there's new aspects about, again, the way we actually deliver our jobs.
Okay.
So this has changed a lot.
And I'd like to pick up on that a little bit. Tell me more about what MDEC has done, MDEC's role, and how you've supported the ecosystem of the digitalization.
Okay. Last year, we actually launched Malaysia Digital, or MD for short, which is a successor to Multimedia Super Corridor Initiative, MSC, that is long overdue for a refresh. So it touches on many things. Main aspects would be tax incentives, status, location, the bill of guarantees, and including the benefits and the focus more for Malaysia-based companies and not just the foreign investors alone. So it is time for us to push a bit more on export that Malaysia has developed and now are able to actually sell to other countries and other locations as well. So that is one part of it. The other important part is that we also launch catalytic initiatives. So we have the Malaysia Digital Catalyst Program, or Pemangkin, which is a literal translation of that, which looks at private sector involvement and also contribution into what the government is doing. There's that formula of 80-20, where the 20% comes from the government, the rest we hope to be able to be getting from the private sector, especially the GLCs and the GLICs, the government-linked investment companies. So these are the kinds of things that we want to be consistent with now the...
So we're talking about medium and long term, not something short term, not a one-off thing.
No. This is about rebuilding the country based on digital, growing the economy based on digital with private sector involvement and heavy at that. And it is consistent very much with the recently launched Economy Madani framework, which we believe that it's matching and aligning very finely with that.
Okay, wonderful. But I do have a question on something that maybe you could help shed some light on. Something else which was from the horizon, I picked this out on the National Tech Association of Malaysia, or PICOM, which said that salary packages and benefits need to be raised for digital professionals. Is this enough to stem the brain drain and to have a sufficient pool of talent in the country?
It's a start, but that's not the only answer. I think it's only one side of the coin, in fact, half the side of that coin, because salary is not really sustainable. You can only pay people so much before they get bored because there's nothing to do anyway. So what we are saying and we are arguing is that the supply, the professionals that we have in Malaysia currently, they need jobs for them to retain and remain in the country and to continue to contribute to the economy. So this is why, going back to the Pemangkin proposition.
So we're speaking about local talent.
Exactly. We start with the local.
We start with the local, keeping them here and making sure that they are happy.
And arresting the brain drain.
That's right.
That's the whole and main concern that we have. We have invested in this through government programs, even private sector. I'm being one of the sponsored students of the government itself. Again, wanting to contribute, wanting to stay in Malaysia. I mean, anyone can pack up and just go to Singapore and other countries. The thing about this is that what makes us stay here? There's always something. There's always that sense of pride in contributing towards around you and growing things around you. So that's one side of things. So Pemangkin would create the kind of jobs that would retain this kind of talents. If we are building data scientists, we have to have jobs that would have to offer data scientists work here.
Correct.
So I think the formula goes on for the other part. So salary is a good start. I'm not saying that money is not good, but
not the only thing.
Not the only thing. That's right.
Okay. And if you can tell me why, on a larger scale, we speak about deployment of digital infrastructure, the rollout of 5G. Please help me explain or help the layman understand, why is this important, and are we moving fast enough to catch up with AI?
Okay. I think the topic of 5G is extremely popular because of the infrastructure, the choice of infrastructure.
Yeah.
I think the approach as well, and the government has decided on this, rightfully so, to allow for more participation in this. What is more important for an agency like MDEC and also the ecosystem as well is very much on what happens the moment the infrastructure is ready. So we are trying to create the kinds of solutions that we hope to be capitalizing and taking advantage of the 5G infrastructure. So this is the kind of things that we are hoping and developing together with the infrastructure players, our sister agency, MCMC, and also DNB, and the rest of telco to develop an infrastructure that can be utilized by the ecosystem or the companies that are under our, I think, stable, if you may, so that we can make use of that. Adoption at industry of 5G is critical for the success of any 5G implementation. So we believe very strongly in that. Okay, so the focus is on the adoption and making sure that that rolls out smoothly. At industry level, yes. At industry level. Yeah. Okay, and what about the layman, for the schools, for education? How does 5G play a role there? Well, at the moment, right now, we don't see enough use cases for education just yet. However, the Web 3.0, the metaverse, I think AR, VR and things like that, would be adopted, and more use cases or solutions can be developed. But the infrastructure would have to be ready first. So I am positive that there's always ways for us to capitalize on technology using 5G infra to be able to use that in healthcare, definitely, education, and transportation. Okay, so the infrastructure is key. Yes. And then we move on from there. Then we catch up on our AI, then we catch up on the data centers and the big data as well. Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Malaysia'S, for being here with us and for sharing all your valuable insights. We hope we'll see you soon another time. Thank you very much. And that wraps up On the Table for tonight. It's now back to Carlos.